Question is from Mr. Trudeau. How would you respond to those who have criticized you for taking in immigrants without considering the impact on the Atlantic? Do you have any indications that things need to change? Well, what we've done really is to bring provinces together to have a discussion. This is part of what we've talked about with Premier Legault. He'll be talking to his provincial counterparts to see who could take in more asylum seekers. In fact, we know that Ontario and Quebec as well are doing more than their fair share in terms of supporting asylum seekers. Now, this is a question of fairness with the rest of the country. We have to make sure that all provinces do their fair share. These are ongoing conversations, and we're happy to take part in those conversations to make sure that asylum seekers be supported in the right way and that their applications be processed properly, and that in the meantime they be in a position to make a contribution and they not be a weight for various provinces. Premier, well, look, first of all, let's be clear here. For the past 2 years, the number of temporary immigrants in Quebec has risen from 300,000 to 600,000, including 200,000 asylum seekers. Now, I understand that there are people want to come to Quebec because the situation in their home countries is very, very tough, and Quebec will always do our fair share, but there are limits to what we can do. Currently, we're unable to take in 600,000 temporary immigrants. We don't have the wherewithal to deal with the doubling of temporary immigrants from 300,000 to 600,000. There's a lack of housing. There's a shortage of teachers as well. There's a shortage of nurses, and that is a major issue for the future of French, especially here in Montreal. So what we've asked the federal government to do, what we've asked Prime Minister Trudeau to do, is to take prompt action to halve the number of asylum seekers in Quebec. We've been talking about this for 6 months. There have been no results to date, but when I talk to the premiers of the other provinces, they say that this is going nowhere. There's been no progress. I'd like to reiterate today that Quebec is no longer in a position to house 600,000 temporary immigrants. There's a lack of teachers, a lack of housing, a lack of nurses as well, and about a third of these people don't speak French. So that's a major issue for the future of French in Montreal. So it really is urgent that Mr. Trudeau take real action to halve the number of temporary immigrants. The question is from Mr. Legault. Mr. Legault, I'm sure you're aware of what your Tsar for anti-Islamophobia has said. He suggests that universities and Seps hire Muslim teachers. What's your reaction to that? First of all, because it's provincial jurisdiction, how would you interpret this idea in the context of secularism here in Quebec?
I think it's unacceptable to see somebody suggesting to Quebec universities to hire some professors from a specific religion. I think that first, it's not on their jurisdiction. Second, I think universities, they have to hire the most competent people they can find. That's it, that's all.
Mr. Trudeau, Madame D.E.I.
Mr. Trudeau, Ms. D.E.I, who is responsible for higher education, has asked that these are be fired. Well, let's be clear. Universities must hire the most qualified people. Each university has its own policies to ensure that their faculty reflects Canadian diversity and each university will make their own choices on that. Ms. Al-Gebri is doing arm's length work. She makes recommendations and she is there to encourage dialogue between various groups. And I think we're seeing a rise in tension. Currently, we should remind ourselves that as Canadians, it's our duty and a right to have conversations to bring us together and to allow us to understand each other. I think there should be more